So a lot of you have been waiting for a long time, right? You guys want to see some movie stars, am I right? I don't know. Who wants to see some movie stars? That's what I was hoping to hear. All right, our first guest charmed us as multiple characters in the Harry Potter films thanks to the amazing makeup and special effects teams. He's played cunning goblins and everyone's favorite charms professor. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Warwick Davis. We have followed him since his first fumbling days at Hogwarts to his last stand against evil. Played by our next guest, Neville Longbottom won our hearts. As Harry Potter's friend and fellow Dumbledore Army member, please welcome to the panel, Mr. Matthew Lewis. Now no one can forget. No one can forget the moment our next guest character first threaded on screen behind his Slytherin son, but our favorite Lucius Malfoy moment has to be the time he met the wrath of Dobby. Please give a round of applause and welcome for the very first time here at a celebration of Harry Potter, the one and only Mr. Jason Isaacs. All right, whether you love him or just loved seeing him get turned into a ferret, there is no denying that Harry may have met his ultimate demise in Malfoy Manor if it hadn't been for Draco Malfoy. Also making his very first appearance on our panel at a celebration of Harry Potter, please welcome the man who brilliantly brought Draco to life on the big screen, Mr. Tom Felton.
I love you too.
Now we also have some very important people out in the crowd who are going to help us facilitate some questions for these gentlemen up here. I know that a lot of you have some questions, am I right? All right, so I'm going to start with my friend Brian, who is all the way in the back of the house there.
Hey, guys.
Hi there, Brian. Who do you have with you today?
Today I have
Aaron
and
Caitlin.
And they've got a great question for the panel.
What was the most embarrassing moment on set?
Oh, God.
In unison.
This is close, isn't it?
Jason, you've had loads. Why don't you start? I forgot my lines. There's a line that never made it in the second film because I couldn't remember it. I wore braces at the time and struggled to get the words out. And after about 4 or 5 takes, I just cried. And then and then Chris Columbus came up to me and said, "Don't worry, man. Don't worry. Like we got it. It's gonna make it in the movie." It didn't ever make it. That's pretty embarrassing.
I had a moment where, as Professor Flitwick, I actually wear dentures as the character, these most perfect set of white teeth. And there was a moment during the crowd surfing scene, the camera's above looking down on the character, and as I'm being surfed and moved across the crowd, I'm being grabbed in rather inappropriate places. And one time I was grabbed, it made my teeth shoot out my mouth. But then they drop back in again perfectly, so look out for that in the movie.
Can you see it? Is it actually in the final?
It's there, yeah. It was just like, whoa!
You don't want to recreate it.
No, I don't, Jason. No, I don't.
I remember my first day, I had a scene for the end of Chamber of Secrets with Dumbledore, the late great Richard Harris playing Dumbledore. And he'd have liked that. And I was so overwhelmed by everything, all the kind of gizmos and the sets and every, the people who all knew each other. And I was trying to be cool and fit in. And I said, this is amazing, the set's amazing. And I met the set guy and I was talking to a bunch of people. I said, and I love that bird behind him. What is that? They said, it's a phoenix. I said, it's amazing. Where are they from? And they went, what? I said, the bird behind him, where's it from? And he went, it's from the robot workshop. And I went, all right, yeah, sorry.
Never mind.
I have no embarrassing moments
Because you're so cool.
Flawlessly played. Flawlessly played.
Can I just add to what Jason said about him not realizing something wasn't real? I was dressed in my goblin makeup, and I was in the creature effects workshop. And often people used to be brought round the studios, guests, and sometimes celebrities would come round. And Christian Slater came round and brought his kids to have a look around the studios and the set. And they came through the creature workshop, and there was Buckbeak in there, and the effects team were demonstrating how the hippogriff would bow, and you could bow to the hippogriff. And I was standing watching this, and his kids came over and said, "Make this one work." Yeah, I broke into a song and dance number and totally freaked them out.
Oh God, that's fantastic. Okay, Aaron, you are there in the middle of the crowd. Who do you have with you?
I have Susanna. Susanna is from Orlando, Florida, and she has a question for all four gentlemen. Hi, guys.
Hello.
I just wanted to ask, what is it about Harry Potter that makes you guys as big of fans as we are?
It's the escapism, I think, as well. I think we all love to escape from reality, and I think for me it's certainly that idea that magic could exist just out of reach. I think we all like to believe in magic, and I think that's what I enjoy about it. That kind of the way that it is it is a fantasy piece, but at the same time it's very believable as well.
I was such a huge fan of the books when I was a kid, and I think a large part of my love for it came from being quite an awkward child, as I'm sure you're all aware. And there's always a wonderful thought that just beyond that brick wall in London, there was a whole magical world in which you were so much more, and you were capable of so much more. And I always loved, exactly like Warwick said, the idea that could be possible, that escapism is there. And then you find out that you don't need that magical world, it's all in there the whole way. And the characters are what show that. So I love that about the stories.
I'm kind of the opposite, actually. What I really loved about it was that although there's all the magic and there's, walking through the wall at King's Cross Station and spells and stuff, it felt incredibly real. You didn't need to look very far to find the kinds of forces that the kids are banding up against in the real world. Find people who think that Muggles should be killed, or someone who thinks another group of people are responsible and terrible and should be put down, and that the story at the heart of Joe's stuff was completely real, and about how you should have faith in yourself, and that honesty and trust and love will conquer evil in the world. And I thought that stuff was what made me love it.
I think it's like reinventing reality, isn't it? I think that the world around us sometimes doesn't satisfy us and doesn't really relate to how we feel inside. It doesn't quite match up. The external world is not matching up with what's happening inside. So something as seemingly fictitious as Harry Potter seems more real. And it seems like I can relate more to this than I can do to the actual world of reality. So it's sort of reinventing what's possible. I think Joe said it lovely in the last premiere where Hogwarts will always be there. Although it may seem like this fictitious place that's not real, of course it's real. Of course you've all been there, like we all have. Yeah, and I think that's what's so great about the community of it all. Like it's definitely alive.
And everybody belongs there. There's a place for everyone in it. That's what she said.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Now we have Julia in the front there. Who do you have with you, Julia?
Hello, I have Amabel from Orlando, Florida, and Michael, our sign language interpreter, is going to voice her question.
Excellent.
I have a question for Malfoy. If you can...
Big or little?
Young, junior. through all the films, you did such a great job, such a handsome young man, and I think you really did your acting so great, and it was fun to watch you kind of grow up on the screen, and playing that character, kind of being mean. How do you feel like you were able to do that and kind of channel that character when you're such a sweet young man?
Thank you. I had 3 older brothers that were all complete arses to me. So I managed to channel a lot of my frustration towards my fellow colleagues. Genuinely, that was. I had 3 older brothers that treated me like the youngest brother, and there's nothing I could do about it. So I managed to vent a lot of that frustration through being mean to the other characters. But largely speaking, it was a lot easier for me, I think, because the character that I was portraying was so different from me. I have a loving family. I have a great dad, unlike this geezer. So it made it very easy to be able to go completely on the opposite side of things and embody this little evil git.
And he's just a really, really good actor, and he always was from the age of 11 onwards.
Bless you. Thank you for your question.
Very nice. But now we have Rusty, who is there, kind of in the middle over there. I see you waving, Rusty. So who do you have with you out there?
I have Elena, and she's come from a very long way, Orlando.
Right.
And she has a question for the panel.
What is your favorite female character in the Harry Potter series?
You are right now. Where is she? I can't even. Her face to the
Rusty
name.
is waving. He's kind of right
Oh, I
there
got you,
in the
I got
middle.
you.
Yes, directly, sort of center and a little bit over.
Hello, little one.
She's got that lovely blue skin.
I've got 2 daughters, and one of the reasons I think that they love the books, they love the films, is that they loved Hermione because she was smarter than everybody else. And she didn't play second fiddle to the boys, and she wasn't there to make the boys look smarter. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, she's the strongest character in the whole thing. So
I like Mrs. Weasley. I thought she was lovely. Yeah, I think that. Although, I will say, while we're talking about female characters, what's up with the goblins? Where's the lady goblins?
This is
What's going on with that?
You mentioned this to it yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought it was a revelation. We've never seen.
We've never talked. I mean, where are they back at home? I mean, no wonder the goblins are all so moody.
I don't know that the goblins we saw were female.
They're all chaps, though, aren't they?
I didn't see them naked.
Good point.
Oh, now I've got an image in my head I don't want.
I'm thinking we should move on. I don't know. Brian, who do you have out there?
Hey, I've got Morgan, and she felt it necessary to tell you that she travels around the whole country in an RV. That's where she's from, everywhere.
Awesome.
Nice. And she's got a great question here.
If you could have one of the Deathly Hallows in real life, which would it be and why?
Jason just said to me, what does that mean?
Unbelievable. Seriously though, Matt, what does that mean?
No, I do know, I think I know this. Okay, so there's the cloak.
I'll go for the
which
cloak.
is invisibility, obviously.
Yeah, always.
There's the wand, the
Elder.
powerful wand. And the ring? The resurrection stone. You can bring someone back from the dead. So you're either like really powerful, invisible, or you can bring someone back from the dead.
Anything. Cheers, mate. Invisible, I think, would be the most fun.
Yeah, invisible for me, yeah.
That's the right one though, isn't it? That's the best. Isn't that the guy who lasted the longest? Was the invisible one?
Right.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's the right one.
I'm glad someone paid attention, didn't they? Thank God for Matt.
All right, Matt, you said you've only seen the films once as well.
Yeah.
You learned that all from the books, obviously.
I just have an amazing memory.
Oh, you're brilliant.
No, I've read, the books, that's probably from my book knowledge, I think.
It's a little bit more detailed there, yes. Where is Erin? Where did she go?
Down front, guys.
Hey,
front
how
house
are you?
Right. Hi, over here. I have Ashley. Ashley is from Savannah, Georgia, with a question for the panel.
Cool.
I actually saw it yesterday, because I'm like Matt, I've only seen the films once at the premieres, but I saw it yesterday while doing a little expo thing on the iPad where the ferret turns back into me and he goes, "My father will hear about this!" And I forgot completely where the line came from, but that's where it came from. Yeah, that's one of my favourites, and it seems to be the one most repeated at me. Father did hear about this. He's right here.
Any of you gents have a favorite?
So, I apologise if you heard this yesterday, but there was a scene, that scene with Dumbledore at the end of Chamber of Secrets. I was meant to leave the room. The script just didn't have anything for me to say, and I was dismissed by Dumbledore. He said, "Thank you, Potter. Thank you, Lucius, that'll be all." And I wandered out the room. And I said to the director, "I feel like I should say something on my way out." He's so proud, he's so arrogant. He said, "Well, go ahead, just say something, we'll do another one." And I said, "Well, what should I tell Daniel and Richard?" And he said, "No, just do something." So there's Richard Harris sitting there, and he said, "Thank you, Lucius, that'll be all." And I turned around, I turned to Daniel, who was about 12 years old, about that high, and I said, "Let us hope Mr. Potter will always be around to save the day." And Daniel, that's not my favourite line. And then Daniel, not knowing what was happening, puffed his chest out, took a step towards me, and he went, "Don't worry, I will be." And I thought, he's a bit good, isn't he? So that's my favourite line, when he said that to me.
For me, I like the line that I had in the vault in Deathly Hallows Part 2, where I said I'd get you in. I didn't say anything about getting you out. Which is,
That is a great line.
pretty nasty, and it's a pretty evil line, that one. Or Wingardium Leviosa.
I'll never get bored of those two. Brilliant.
Mine was probably the line that summed up Neville so perfectly all those years ago, which I hear said back to me so many times, and it also summed me up as well at that time. Just, why is it always me? Like, every time.
That's awesome. Hey, Julia, she is right there in the front of the house. Hello, who do you have with you?
I have Shelby from Orlando.
Hello.
She's got a great question.
Hi.
Thanks for coming all this way.
My question is for Warwick. My question is, have you ever researched conducting for your role as Professor Flitwick?
I did, in fact, yeah. I mean, I tried to get those counts that you do, or that kind of thing. But I mean, you have to kind of look at it that either you can conduct properly and technically, or you can do it that it looks interesting on screen. So what I ended up doing was kind of a hybrid between, trying to keep them in time, but at the same time making it look more interesting. And I think what I was really trying to do was make my hair flick around as much as possible, because the conductors I've watched, the ones that you think are really good, are the ones whose hair flies about a lot. So I actually, quite recently, was looking through some old mini DV tapes, right? And with prosthetic makeups, you tend to have to film yourself and rehearse so that you can actually understand where the face moves, because obviously something's glued to your face. You can't always feel when stuff's moving and when it isn't. So I would often film myself in my trailer performing some of the sequences to see what happened, and I found all this stuff of me conducting and trying to flick my hair around. It's ridiculous. I imagine one day it'll surface on a DVD as an extra.
I hope so.
It's quite fun. It's quite fun. So
We were outside the trailer looking through the window thinking he got mad.
what is he up to in there again? So yes, it's a cross between technical conducting and theatrical conducting.
Excellent. Now, Rusty, where are you, my friend? You are way over there waving your hat. I see you, brother.
Hey, I've got somebody here who's not from Orlando.
Wow.
Her name is Xander. She's from Dunedin, Florida. And she has a question for the panel.
Okay, so I wanted to know, what was the most difficult thing to film?
Difficult sequence to film or difficult scenes?
The most challenging thing to film.
I mean, all of it was such a pleasure. It's hard to really use the word difficult as if it was a chore or a task. But I had a particularly dicky tummy. For those of you who don't understand the English paraphrase, it means I'm a bit sensitive around like certain types of food. And the Great Hall, they used to have these massive feasts that were incredible on the first hour of them producing it. But when you've been filming it for 2 weeks, they more or less just keep microwaving the same food constantly, and I would be particularly sensitive to that. So that was about as challenging mentally as it got. Physically, there were things, obviously, it got hot or it got cold, or you had a harness attached to your private parts that were whisking you across the room, etc. Broomsticks were a little tough for that same reason. That's about as challenging as it got, I think, really, or difficult, rather.
Well, difficult. Yeah, there's physical things that were hard, getting winched and pulled and smacked about. But one of the hardest things is that although the films run on fast, they're actually really slow to make. And there's tons and tons and tons of waiting around. And if you're in a really big scene where you don't have much to do, like the beginning of Deathly Hallows Part 1, they were at Malfoy Manor and everybody's sitting at the long table there. It took weeks and weeks and weeks to film, and we had to pretend to look at Nagini when there wasn't anything there. And I knew I had this one little bit where Voldemort comes around and takes my wand and snaps it. It's just, you spend a long time, you go for a lot of naps, you eat a lot of chocolate, you watch amazing actors do their stuff, and it finally gets to you, and you just got 5 minutes to do the bit that will end up in the film. And Rafe Fiennes, who is a very fun, lovely man, but when he was Voldemort, he was very, very intimidating. And I wanted him to pause behind my chair and do the bit with me. And when we got to it, he just walked by me and went to somebody else. And I thought, I've been waiting 3 weeks for this, and he's not going to do it. And then he kind of half turned around, he half came back with half a sneer. And he took my wand, and he said, what is this? And I said, Dragon Heartstring, and he just snapped it. And I was about to, I don't know what I was about to do, and he just moved on again. I went, I've been waiting 3 weeks for that moment. But actually, of course, he was absolutely right, because in the film, it looks like what it is, which is a man getting castrated at his table in front of all his friends. So, yeah. That was embarrassing both for me and Lucius, I thought.
Speaking of waiting, I recall that scene as well, because Griphook gets brought in, is it halfway through that scene in the Malfoy Manor? I just remember there were 3 days where you were put through 4 hours of getting all these prosthetics on, which I still don't know how you have the patience to do so. But you weren't even used. As in, they would get ready for a scene that was hopefully to feature Warwick, and they never got round to it for whatever reasons.
It happens a lot. Yeah, and it's that thing of, though, you kind of always... you sit in your trailer and you fall asleep, and I would do that quite a lot, and wake up and my prosthetic nose is kind of folded against my cheek, and then you kind of go on to set in anticipation, and then you don't do anything again, and you go and get it all taken off again. But it's kind of what you get used to. It is. It's about.
My kids came to see me on that day. They never came to visit the set. They only liked the free chocolate, but they came that day, and I said, "Oh, the man is here who played Willow," because they knew Willow, and they came to see you as the Goblin, and they were not going to approach you or talk to you. You didn't look like Willow at all.
You were terrifying as Griphook.
You do feel quite alienated when you're in a prosthetic like that, because nobody will talk to you, because you always look like you're in a mood. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's got all starry. Look at him. He won't, he's in a mood again.
Hey, what happened to Warwick? He used to be so nice.
My most difficult stuff is kind of, again, there's not a whole lot there. I mean, you must feel so terrible for us all hearing those stories about what a nightmare it was.
Sounds so ridiculous.
The only thing is just like when you were geared up for something that never actually got shot, a bit like Warwick waiting around for 3 days. I rehearsed a tango, a dance with Bonnie Wright that we worked on for about 4 weeks with a dance team, and we never even shot it. We never even.
Luckily tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for you only, me and Matt. Oh, sorry, I was kidding.
We almost broke the internet again here at a celebration of Harry Potter. Okay, Brian, who do you have back there, my friend?
Hey, I've got
Mackenzie.
Anne.
Ella.
And they've got a question for Tom and Jason.
Hit us, ladies.
We want to know, what was your favorite part playing father and son in the movies?
Well, I'll tell you my not favourite part. When I first met Tom was when we did our first scene that was actually cut from the film. It was on the extras at Morgan & Botts. And I had that cane that they just made for me. I'd asked for it, but it came and had very, very sharp fangs on it. Even the ones you can buy in the shops here, they very sharp fangs. And the first line I said to him is he touched something, and I said, "Don't touch, Draco." And I kind of meant to just put my cane on him. I wasn't really used to the weight of it, and I swung it, and these 2 fangs went into this very sweet 11-year-old's knuckles, and pierced the skin, and he looked up at me, and his big eyes went wide, and they're filled with tears, and, the cameras are on, we finished the scene, and afterwards I went, "God, Tom, I'm so sorry." He went, "No, that's all right, it was really good for the scene."
I'll never forget it.
Terrible.
Actually, going back to difficult things, that was one of the most difficult. Not just being whacked by Jason, but the nature of the man, that he would be incredibly nice and keen to tell you stories and help you and answer questions. And I was like, oh yeah, I like this guy. Like, Jason seems really cool. And action, whack with the stick, or grab me by the ear and pull me by the. He was a lovely man to work with as Jason, but I'm right.
The thing is, I saw my job when I got because I came along the second film, as trying to explain to everybody why there was such a horrible, bullying little git, Draco, in the story. And I just wanted to tell the story of a loveless, bullying father, who probably had been bullied by his own father, just a home that had no love in it, was full of racism and hatred, and that explained why he was like that at school. So I thought he was, I still think he was, absolutely adorable as an actor, but I tried to make him feel uncomfortable and unhappy on camera as much as I could.
You succeeded, my friend. Thank you for your question, lovely.
Aaron, who do you have with you?
All right, guys, I have Chelsea with a question for the panel.
Hi guys, I love you all, just so you know.
We love you too.
So with Pottermore, there's an opportunity to take the quizzes, and I wondered if you guys had ever taken the Patronus quiz, and if you hadn't, what would be your Patronus and why?
Well, we have done it, but I don't think we should say what the results were, should we? Because that will be revealed.
I was bitterly disappointed.
I was as well.
As was I.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should just stick to the question of what do we elect. Yeah. I like. Are you still with the gerbil, or are you not?
I'm not sure. I mean, the gerbil's pretty useless, isn't it? Though it's great for entertainment, you know, and cutesy watching it run around. But if anything was coming to get you, nobody's taking a gerbil seriously, are they?
Imagine a Dementor. A gerbil.
Actually, Joe told me what Lucius Patronus was, and I don't just give it away, but it's Donald Trump's hair. Never gets old. Never gets old.
Trending.
We might get a tweet about that. One more big round of applause for Mr. Tom Felton! Isaacs! Matthew Lewis! And Warwick Davis! And one more big round of applause for you! Each year you make this a bigger event than last year, and hopefully we will make it even better next year. Thank you all for joining us at a celebration of Harry Potter. Have a good night!
Harry Potter, who wants to give me a high five? On this guy, on! Yes!